If you've already seen the Spellbinders BetterPress, you know that it is an easy, quick, and mess-free way to create letterpress designs using plates and ink. But maybe you were concerned about buying the BetterPress because you weren't sure how many different types of plates would be available. Well then, this video is for you. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel, and in today's video I'll be sharing the latest release of BetterPress plates from Spellbinders. These include fall designs and Halloween designs. They also have Christmas and lots of other versatile designs available. First, let me show you the new plates that they sent me to work with. First up, we have the Halloween Icons press plate and dies. So you have all these really cute Halloween icons and then all these sentiments. The sentiments come on one press plate and they cut out with one die. Here's the pumpkins and ghosts background, which includes everything, a little bit of images and a sentiment and the background. This is the autumn leaves press plate and dies, as well as the notched corner frames dies that you can use with pretty much anything you want. Now, let me show you how easy it is to use those plates and to turn the designs into cards. If you haven't seen my introductory video to the BetterPress system, I'm going to link to it in the YouTube description box below the video. I used this the first time on video and I had great results. So I just want you to know that I have more detail about the BetterPress in that video. But for today, I'm using those leaves, the autumn leaves press plates, and I have some brown ink that I'm tapping on the top of the press plates. They are sitting on a magnetic plate underneath. There's a clear plate on top that has little magnetic notches in the corners, and I've taped an A2 piece of the cotton press bisque cardstock, and then I flip it over and run it through my die cut machine. This time I'm using the other two leaves. They're pretty large, so I fit two on each piece of A2 cardstock. So again, I have a piece of the bisque. This is a cotton cardstock that works really well with BetterPress because you get a really deep impression. I have the washi tape holding it in place, and now I'll ink up those BetterPress plates with some brown ink as well. So I have the BetterPress plates on the magnet, I have the cardstock on the clear plate, and I have some ink that works with the BetterPress to ink up those plates. Then all you have to do is flip over the clear plate, have those little corners line up with the magnets on the base on the platform, and run it through your die cut machine. And then when you take it out, carefully remove it, and you can see you get both an impression and an inked up image. So it is just absolutely so easy to create these letterpress designs. For another piece, I'm using a sentiment from a different BetterPress plate set, and I'm going to place it right in the center of that A2 guidelines. That's what's great about the magnet and the guidelines that are on there. You can really figure out, don't throw your plates around like I do, but you can really figure out where to place sentiments or images. So here I'm just going to use those notch corners to cut that out, that background out with the sentiment, and then I'll use the coordinating dies to cut out each of those leaves. So I have all four leaves that have gone through the BetterPress. I'm going to use that same washi tape that I used to hold them in place going through the BetterPress. Now I'm going to send them through my die cut machine as dies, because these are actually dies to die cut out those BetterPress images. So it all works really well together, and it is so easy to create with them. I absolutely love the detail that you can get from the BetterPress, and the look of letterpress is so elegant. So I'm using a little bit of Altenew gold spray on that background just to fancy it up a little bit. And then I spritz some of that gold spray right on my glass mat and pick it up with a paintbrush. And I decided at first I was just going to go along the lines of the leaf, along the veins, but I decided to color the whole thing in because you can still see the impression, you can still see the ink from the BetterPress, and this just adds a little bit of gold to that bisque color cardstock. And I'm not fully coloring in the leaves, wanted to add little hints of white here and there as highlights. But you can see that that gold is a beautiful shimmer and a beautiful color. So I'll adhere down the background that I cut out and have the sentiment on a piece of cardstock from Spellbinders, and then I'll pop up the leaves all around the sentiment. I'll have just a touch of them hanging off the edge, and we'll deal with that in a moment, but I wanted all 4 leaves on this card, and this seemed like a way to really make them fit. So then I'll just turn over the card and cut off the excess. Anything that's hanging off, I'll just trim off that excess, and this one I can just cut it right at the base of those 2 leaves and use that other leaf in a future project. For the next card, I'll use the pumpkins and ghosts background. And I wanted to share that you can absolutely use your regular cardstock with the BetterPress. The only thing is you won't get such a deep impression. It will impress and the ink will transfer, but you won't get that really deep impression like a letterpress unless you use that cotton cardstock, which is softer and has more depth to it. So I'm this time just going to share how it looks when you use regular cardstock. I'll ink up this entire background with some black ink, and you can see when I'm missing spots, I go back in and cover them up because I want to get a full impression the first time through. Then I'll tape my A2 piece of regular old green cardstock. This is from Spellbinders as well. Flip that over and then run this whole platform through my die cut machine. So check it out. I think it looks great, but it definitely doesn't have as deep of an impression. There you can see it's a hint of it, but not as deep as you definitely get when you use the cotton press cardstock. So to turn this into a card, I'm just going to trim it down a little bit on each side so that I can mat it on a different color of cardstock as well. Then I'll take some Distress Oxide ink in black soot and a domed foam blender, and I'm basically doing round blending next to the cardstock and just bumping up against it a little bit here and there. And that will give you kind of that darker inked edge that almost looks smoky around the cardstock. And I think it's perfect for a Halloween card. I loved the way it looks so much that I decided to do it on the BetterPress panel as well. So again, just ink blending on the side in circles. And then I'll adhere the panel down to the background with some tape runner. Now I have the Spellbinders Color Essentials gems in Opal, and I'll just place those around the entire background. So you can see that you've got this great script and then some of those little images, and I thought those little opals really accented and added a little bit of shimmer and shine. For the next card, I'm using the Halloween icons, and I wanted to show you how cool the sentiments are. So all of these sentiments are together in one BetterPress plate, and I'll ink those up with black ink. This time I'm using the gray cotton cardstock, and make sure that all of the letters are completely covered by the ink because you really want to get this done in one pass. So then I'll place my cardstock on my clear plate and run it through my die cut machine. And check that out. A great impression and super clear. The font and everything is really clear. So now we'll do the icons. I'm placing each icon in a quadrant on the A2 grid. So that is what is great about this grid, is that you get the center between the 2 cross lines and you get these quadrants. So one icon in each quadrant, and again, run it through the die cut machine to transfer. I love the way these look. The detail is outstanding and the impression is really cool. It just has such a different look than just stamping. To die cut, you can just line the one die up around the sentiments and it will cut them into individual sentiment strips. And I love the edges on the sides. They're kind of not straight, so they have this really cool sort of Halloween look to them. I cut the icons down to 4 by 5 1/4 and matted it on some black cardstock. And then I decided I wanted to add some color. So I have a little ripe persimmon on my glass mat and I spritzed it with some water, and I'm just dabbing it onto the pumpkin here and doing a very messy watercolor blotch over that pumpkin, and then picking up some of the color and doing a little bit of spritz or splatter marks on there. For the witch's hat, I'm using Twisted Citron in the same exact way. I take the ink pad and wipe it on the glass mat, spritz it with some water, pick it up with the brush, do a nice splotchy watercolor effect, and then add some splatters. For the skull icon, I'm using Wilted Violet, again, Distress Oxide ink. It's really great because it's reactive with water and it has all the Halloween colors available to you, purple, orange, and that sort of lime green. And I did the same exact thing, a splotch of watercolor and then some splatters off the brush. For the bats, I decided to use black soot, but I'm not going to use a very heavy application because I want to be able to see those cool bats. And so it's more of a gray on gray there. But I think the effect of all four of them really works together. For the sentiment strips, I have cut a piece of foam tape in half and I'll be able to pop them up with those foam strips. And you can see the edges now. Aren't they so cool? I absolutely love these sentiments. They're so much fun, and it's great that you get so many cut out with one die. I don't know about you, but I am loving the variety of the BetterPress plates that are available, and there are tons more coming soon. Look below in the YouTube description box to see the supplies that I used today. YouTube thinks you might be interested in checking out this video next. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. Variety of BetterPress. Okay, one more time. It's already getting hot in here. I'm already. That's great.